Hi, everybody, and thanks for joining us. I'm so happy to be here speaking with you about the Alliance for Massage Therapy Education Educator Summit coming up this July in beautiful downtown Tucson, Arizona. That'll be the main meeting, July 27th through the 29th, with pre-convention meeting on the 26th and a post-convention meeting on the 30th. And those are extra fabulous classes you won't want to miss. But today, we have with us a longtime Alliance associate, Stephanie Beck, owner of SRB Solutions. She has spent the past 20 years as an educator and advocate for online marketing success for health and wellness practitioners. She served as a published columnist since 2003 for several magazines and is three-time best-selling author of Social Trigger Points, Massage Therapist's Guide to Marketing Online, and several other publications. So, Stephanie, you present as a real expert on the issue about using social media and communication means to help build your practice. Can you tell us a little bit about your presentation at the Alliance meeting and why it's going to be so important?
Well, thank you, Ruth. And yes, I have been a very strong advocate for the Alliance for quite a while, and massage therapists in general. And the purpose of the class and why it would be so important is the title of it is how to write purposeful, driven content. And one of the things that was a big adaptation for me and why we started SRB Solutions was, previously before social media, when I did a lot of display advertising for a lot of companies and, and had a lot of experience with that. And when you're doing display advertising, whether it's newspaper, radio, in magazines, you can speak with a much broader scope because you don't know who's going to be listening, watching, or interacting with that particular media. On social media, it's like the exact opposite. So when you want to be very specific with who it is that you're talking to, because you can get very targeted with your voice. And I just feel like a lot of times we miss that boat because several of our clients and the people that we work with still try to treat it like a broad-based media instead of a individualized media, where social media is still, it's that personal side. So what I have taught in the past, and I've taught this class a couple of years ago at other health and wellness organizations, associations, was giving them a specific template by which to follow so that they can speak directly to their audiences. I think that a lot of our school owners, we've had a decline in schools, we've had a decline in admissions, we've seen decline in some continuing education classes. So I feel like it would provide them with a tool by which to speak to them directly. The next generation, they're living on social media, and no matter which social media platform you're using, it is important that you be very specific and very narrowed with your message.
So that's really fascinating. And what I'm rolling around in my head is how a school administrator might hear what you're saying and ask a question like, well, so how do I identify who my target is and how do I reach them? Because really, for a school that's trying to fill seats and reach people whose lives could be so deeply enriched by being in massage school, we don't always know where those people are.
Right. So you have to ask a series of questions. And what I find is that you can always go back to who has attended your school in the past that has been, you may have 2 or 3 different types of perfect audiences, if you will, that, yeah, right. But for the most part, I would guess that you would be able to, if I were to say, hey, Ruth, who is your perfect student? Tell me what their likes and dislikes are. What are their favorite colors? What TV shows do they like to watch? Where, you would be able to dial that down, maybe not to as specific as knowing what TV shows, but I'm just saying in general, you can personify them and start to give them, because I guarantee you there are some traits in there that will be specific, that you'll be able to identify. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I think, I'm not a school owner. I am a CE provider, and I'm not very good at marketing my classes. So now I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I should probably sit in on this one. Because the landscape is changing so quickly, that to offer education in this field, because it's the landscape is shifting. We don't know what education will look like in 10 years, right? And so people are, running around with their hair on fire trying to fill classes, but also trying to prepare for the next decade. And sometimes it seems hard to do both of those things at the same time. So if you were to, without giving everything away, we don't need any spoilers here. But if you were to suggest to someone, to a CE presenter, a CE provider like me, or to an admissions director at a school, both of us are looking at trying to fill seats. How would you? Let's ask some follow-up questions then to what's your perfect student? What do you do with that kind of information once you've identified that persona, say for a massage school?
Okay. Well, and this is part of what we're going to be teaching in the class, because like I said, I break it down with very specific templates and asking the questions where they fill in the blanks. So, because with a lot of people, just like yourself, it's like, oh man, I hadn't really thought about that, or I'm not sure I've gone to that extent. So what I've learned is that I have to give little suggestions and examples. So, and I give an example of how I built my own persona, and then how we've done it for other clients. So there's multiple ways to get the juices flowing, so to speak. And then there's worksheets that everyone will be filling out. And hopefully they'll be filling it out, because it'll help them cultivate their message. And the way one of the biggest things that I run into a lot when working with people is, instead of, they say, oh, well, I could find students anywhere. They could be anybody. And, I don't know who's going to want to attend my school. Or I don't know who's going to want to attend. Right? But you do. There are very specific things and questions that I ask that will lead you down to, oh, yeah, yes, this makes sense, right? And so you'll start to see the patterns, and you'll be able to take that information back to your own records and back to your own school and interview some past students, interview some past people who've taken your CE classes, or think about the types of students you've had in class. I guarantee you there will be a pattern. There will be a series of demographics and psychographics that match with those types of people who like to take those classes. And then it's just a matter of speaking and cultivating that message, which is what we'll do in class, so that it targets in on those people. That's not to say that you won't have other types of people who take your class. Just like for us in our business, yes, our message has always been to work within the health and wellness market, and specifically for massage therapists and chiropractors and acupuncturists and such. But that's not to say that we haven't worked with, like currently right now, we are working on campaigns that include for an insulation company and a barista and a jewelry shop. So I don't say no to them, but I let them know that my specialty is in health and wellness, and that but they came as referrals, or they found me online, and yes, I will help them, absolutely. But so the same thing holds true. But when you're very with schools and CE providers, when you're very specific with your messaging, and you're reaching out and you're really dialed into what the pain points are of those people who are looking to take your class and get that pain resolved, then you get you get those people, you talk directly to them, because it's so noisy out there on social media and there's so much being shared that a lot of times if you make your message too broad and try to talk to all the scopes of people, nobody listens because nobody thinks you're talking directly to them.
Right, right. Wow, this sounds absolutely fascinating, and I love. I've heard this this metaphor before, talking about pain points, but it seems especially apt for our audience. So I want to thank you so much, Stephanie, for joining us today for this little talk, and I am going to really look forward to hearing you speak at the Alliance for Massage Therapy Education Educators Summit this coming July in beautiful downtown Tucson. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we finish up?
No, just want to invite those who maybe have never attended the Educational Congress before or an Alliance conference before. Please talk to your administrators, your school owners, and I guarantee you it'll be an experience worth it for sure. If you are an administrator or educator, would love to meet you and look forward to seeing you there.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Stephanie. We'll see you in July. And thanks for taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.